And Shalom, Shalom family. Welcome to the D.C.B channel. Once again, I'm joined by one of my teachers, Nasik, Zurishaddai ben Yehudah, Crown Prince Zurishaddai ben Yehudah. And we're here again to highlight some of the portion of last week's portion, which was called Balak. So at this time, I let Crown, first and foremost, giving glory to the Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, thanking him for all things and everything, food, clothing, and shelter, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And without any further ado, I'll pass the microphone to Nasik Zurishaddai ben Yehudah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you very much. First of all, giving praises to the Premature Universe, God of my forefathers, Abraham, Ishak, Yaakov, and doing respects and protocol being established. To all the dignitaries here from CL Channel, brothers D.C.B, spiritual head, Chief Prince Ariel, and all other brothers and teachers that's there, and elders, reaching and talking about forefathers, Shalom Aleichem, and soon to be Shabbat Shalom. I'm honored to be able to share a few things, and hopefully I'll highlight some things that will be interesting to most without being too redundant, because I listened to other teachers during the week, and they've been doing a terrific job at various places, and I say, well, it makes it a little easier for me just to highlight important points that I would find interesting, that will stand out from my perspective. So I hope you can enjoy it. But also, Adonai Septadi Takopia Giti Theaka, Lord, open down my lips, my mouth shall declare the praise. I like to go into the book of Balak. Now, some congregations did a double portion last week, which is CHOKMAH and Balak. This, I'm just focusing on the Balak portion this particular week. And what's interesting, what I find interesting, is the opening from the very first line, which is 22nd chapter of Numbers, the second verse. And it reads, and Balak the son of Zippor saw that all that Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was so afraid of the people because they were many. And Moab was overcome with dread because of the children of Israel. And what I find so interesting is that, and that's been highlighted often, is that they saw what Israel did to the Amorites, and that incited them with such great fear. But what I find even more interesting is that they never saw what the Amorites was prepared to do to the Israelites. And that's what seemed to stick out to me. Or they didn't see that we presented peace. We asked to go through their land. They didn't, they didn't see that the Amorites refused us passage and came out with all their people to go to war against Israel. Whereas Esau basically said, I'm not going to let you pass. But the Amorites was not only not going to let us pass, but they came out to war against us when we first proclaimed peace. And that's a lesson that we can draw from, that sometimes people seem to see things only from one perspective and not seeing it from another perspective. Because Balak, whose name means empty or destroyer, he only seen the destruction of the Amorites. He didn't see the incite acts of the Amorites towards us. He didn't see that we presented peace to the Amorites. So hence, what leads into the story, what I like, and the reason why I focus on this particular point, because it's a lack of vision and perspective being portrayed throughout this whole episode of Balak. And so as I go further, I'm just going to read a few things here. Fourth verse, it says, and Moab said to the elders of Midian, now will this multitude lick us all that is around about us, as the ark lifteth up the grass of the field. And Balak, the son of Zippor, was king of Moab at that time. And he sent messengers unto Balaam, the son of Beor, to Petor, which is by the river, to the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, Behold, there is a people come out from Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. What's interesting, I find here, is that here Moses' father-in-law was a Midianite, but evidently it's other Midianites that spread out throughout the regions. Balak, he decides to call for the Midianite elders and the Moabite elders that gets counsel and to state his problem. He described the people as being numerous. That reminds you of when Pharaoh said our only crime was being numerous, multiplying. And then it describes, it says that we cover the whole earth. One of the plagues, the 8th plague in the Sidra bowl was the 8th plague, which was locust. And it said it covered the whole land of Egypt. So they look at us as and that's an ancient terminology for an army. When you see so many people out there and it seems like you can't see no ground at all. And it goes further and it says, now, what's really more interesting is that they send for a guy a long ways off. Basically, it's about maybe 400 miles between where they're at now and to Aram, which is known as Syria. So they sent for this man who they must know by reputation over several countries just to get this one man. And he described us as a people without no identification. Around the 6th verse, it says, Come now, therefore I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too many for me. Peradventure I shall prevail, that we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I know that he whom thou blessest is blessed, and he whom thou cursest is cursed. So his reputation preceded him, and that means they did their homework, which most brothers expressed already. And it said, and the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the rewards of divination in their hands. And in the Hebrew text, to give a slight different, you could read it both ways, whereas divinations of rewards means the material that's needed, or people who also skill in that same arts. And they came to Balaam and spoke unto him the words of Balak. And he said unto them, Lodge here this night, and I will bring you back word as the Lord may speak unto me. And the princes of Moab abode with Balaam. All right, now you notice that sometimes it might slip by most of us. Midian and Moab both went there, the elders of Midian and Moab. But as we're going to find out in the story, the Midianites must have left. Only the people from Moab stayed. Normally, if a guy got a reputation, why the Midianites must have had, I would say, having a little bit more insight, saying that if he need to wait and consult the Creator, then in actuality, he ain't all he's cracked up to be. Because if he had the power of blessing and cursing in his mouth alone, by himself, through his own ability, then he would need to say, wait, and I will see what the Lord will say. But I'm going to push on. I'm going to try to speed through a little bit because I usually try not to be too long. and when, as we go further into the scripture, 9th verse said, and God came unto Balaam and said, what men are with thee? Rhetorical question. And Balaam said unto God, Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent unto me, saying, behold, the people that are come out of Egypt, and covered the face of the earth. Now come curse me them. Peradventure, I shall be able to fight against them, and shall drive them out. And God said to Balaam, thou shalt not go with them. Thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed. And Balaam rose in the morning and said unto the princes of Balak, get you unto your land, for the Lord refused to give me leave to go with you. Now, I want people to pay attention to the wording that's done here. All right. And the 14th verse, and the princes of Moab rose up, and they went unto Balak and said, Balaam refused to come with us. Now you notice everybody's changing and dropping information. They withhold information and dropping other information that's conducive to their agenda. First of all, Balaam never said the people was blessed. He just said the Lord refused to let him go. And the messengers didn't say Balaam said the Lord refused to let him go. They said, oh, Balaam jiving, pretty much that he's the one that had the power. We didn't come to see God. We come to see him. So they looking at it like he refused to go. So then when we get down to the 14th verse, and the prince of Moab rose up and they went to 15th verse, excuse me. And Balak sent yet again princes more and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, thus said Balak, the son of Zippor, let nothing, I pray thee, hinder thee from coming unto me, for I will promote thee unto very great honor. And whatsoever thou sayest unto me, I will do. Come therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people. And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, if Balak give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do anything small or great. Now, he used the tetragrammaton, which most brothers and sisters might say Yehovah, and that's the tetragrammaton for the actual creator's name. Now, it's not unusual because the first time anybody used that name outside of Abraham, attributed with Abraham, calling on the name of the creator, is Abimelech, when he went to make a covenant with Yitzchak, Isaac, Abraham's son. And so that's the first time that we find in the scriptures that someone that's other than the patriarchs using the name, the YAH name as an expression. Balaam is only the second that we see use that particular name. So therefore, when we as Israelites say that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is our God, we're not saying he's not God of the universe and God of the world and God of all nations. Sometimes we think he belongs to us only and no one else, but he deals with other people in a different fashion than he deals with us, as we'll see later on through the blessings that's issued here. Now, what's unique now, Moses just had already been scolded in the last Sidra of CHOKMAH. And as within the last Sidra of CHOKMAH, him and Aharon had already been slated to die on that side of the Jordan. We read where Aharon had died, which was the first of the 5th month, which is Ab. So we read where the date he died. So we know it's in the 40th year. We know that at the brink of the Jordan, near the land, the plains of Moab, we know that according to history, which is, behind, later on we read about it, that Moshe dies in the mount, in the plains of Moab. So we know that Moshe is alone from his generation, other than if it's any other Levites that's had that same type of age, because they wasn't under the death penalty. That means all the elders that he had, that his spirit was dropped on, they're gone. If they weren't, from the tribe of Levi, they're gone. And all that generation is gone. So therefore, the oldest guys out there is Joshua and Caleb. And Caleb is basically around 80 at this time. And Joshua, basically about maybe 83, give or take. And so now we see that his sister's gone, his brother's gone, the generation is gone. And this is a thing where he didn't sanctify the name of the Creator, but this also teach us, though he's still around at this time, that the Creator will be doing the battle from this point on for us, unbeknownst to us sometime. So I'm picking up from the 19th verse. Now therefore I pray you, tarry also here this night, and that I may know what the Lord will speak unto me more. And God came unto Balaam at night and said unto him, if the men are come to call thee, rise up, go with them, but only the words which I speak unto thee, thou shalt do. And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass and went with the prince of the Moab. And God's anger was kindled because he went. And the angel of the Lord placed himself in the way for an adversary against him. Now, he was riding upon his ass, and his two servants were with him. All right. Now, some people will look at this here, and a lot of critics will say, if the Creator tell you to go, why get angry with you when he told you to go? Because when we check it out careful, in the Hebrew, the second time the princess came and Balaam went back, he said, if there's anything to be added to what the Creator had said. He couldn't take the no answer. He couldn't take the refusal. So then the Creator allow you free will. What you really want to do, okay, but you'll be responsible for that. So that's why he really wanted to go, because he wanted to see what else could be added to what the Creator had said. And then, like I said, they're still talking money. Oh, by the way, I like to share that the word Balak means empty or destroyer. And Balaam, some say Lord of the people for Baal and but also Bilam means a glutton. So, and we think about the destroyer to the glutton and what they really want to do. The destroyer want the glutton, the curse of people, so he could further destroy. So now if I go further, to picking up from the 32nd, an angel of the Lord, oh, excuse me, I went too far. Sorry, let me see. Okay. All right, picking up from 22nd. The guy was kindled because he went, and the angel of the Lord placed himself in the way for an adversary against him. Now, it used the term, but then it let us time low. All right. The first time you actually really see pretty much the word Satan. A lot of times we get the idea, the ideology that Satan, the devil, the angel that tried to overthrow God, that was cast down with a bunch of angels with him. All right. The word Satan means adversary. That's what it means. It means just strictly adversary. And here it says the angel stood as an adversary, or as Satan, if you look at it in the Hebrew, against Balaam, the glutton. and the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a hollow way between a vineyard, a fence, being on this side and the fence on that side. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord, and she thrust herself unto the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. And he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further and stood at the narrow place where there was no way to turn, either to the right hand or to the left. The angel of the Lord, the ass saw the angel of the Lord, and she laid down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with his staff. Let me stop here at the 28th verse. Now, 3 times he done beat his animal. First time, all right, understandably, you're going the wrong way. We need to straighten this out. I want to go that way. You're going this way. I need you go this way. Next time, I got to hit you because you hurt me. Bang my foot up. All right. Third time, oh, now I'm really hurt. So I got to get this staff. This is my quail that's in my hand and put it on you. What's interesting here, 28th verse. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, what have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, because thou hast mocked me, I would there was a sword in my hand, for now I had killed thee. And the ass said unto Balaam, am not I thy ass, upon which thou hast ridden all thy life long unto this day? Was I ever want to do so unto thee? And he said, nay. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam. All right, I'm stopping at the 31st verse right there. Now, everybody have a field day with this. Sages, commentaries, everybody, children like that. Because the first thing you want to say, well, since when you was talking, that's the first thing. Not only that, now you're going to try to reason with me. Not only that, not only trying to reason with me, you want me to admit that I was wrong to you and doing what I'm doing. So, reasoning, all right, and then I had to admit that I'm wrong. A lot of people have a rough time admitting that they was in the wrong. And this one lesson right here that's coming from a beast. And he said, now everybody knows this thing about you got the power to bless and curse people, but you need a sword. But he don't see the angel over there against him with the sword. The sword is right at hand. He could get that. I mean, if he just really needed a sword, not seeing the sword for him, he want the sword for the beast, but yet he don't see the sword for himself. The very thing he want is the very thing that's standing before him. And sometimes we don't see the very thing that's standing before us right in front of our eyes. So after that, within the 31st verse, it said, after his eyes opened, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his sword drawn in his hand, and he bowed his head and fell on his face. What he asked for is what he really didn't want. He wanted for somebody else. He wanted for his beast. But now he see it was against him. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, wherefore thou smitten thy ass these 3 times? Behold, I am come forth for an adversary, because thy way is contrary unto me. So now saying, look here, the way you're going is wrong. The Creator don't like it, and he's able, and the Creator sent him so he could speak the way the angel had the power to speak in a certain style. So one thing we can learn, this the first instance in scriptures where you have an accusation concerning cruelty to animals. Last is we talk about giving our beasts thirsty, with water to drink, because we thirsty and the beast is thirsty. But this is the first time we actually have an example of cruelty to animals being portrayed in scripture. And sometimes we might, not pay attention to that, because it didn't say this animal didn't belong to you. It just said why you beat it. That ain't the way you treat them. You don't treat an animal like that, and then threaten to kill it at that, and it's saving your life. So that's a takeaway for some of us when we have our own particular pets, and maybe the dog might have did something, the cat might did something in the spot you might not like, and you go to kick the cat or throw your shoe at it, the dog or something like that. There, the Torah is against how we deal with our animals. In the Proverbs, it says, a righteous man regardeth the life of his beast. So that should let you know that Balaam is not that righteous. As we go further in the scriptures, third, it says, and the ass saw me and turned aside before me these 3 times, unless she had turned aside from me, surely now I have, now I had even slain thee and saved her alive. So the beast's life was not in jeopardy. It was Balaam's life in jeopardy. And Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I knew not that thou stoodest in the way against me. Now, therefore, if it displease thee, I will get me back. Now, I like that particular verse because when you read the words and kind of ponder on it a bit, he's saying, I didn't know you was there. In the way against me, standing against me, standing as an adversary opposing me. Now, if he knew he was there, you wonder how he would have acted. Would he took notice? Would he have been apologetic when he had seen him the first time? Or he would have been evasive. So now we're going to find the real character, and I'm going to skip over to when he meets Balak. I'm going to skip down pretty much so. All right, but I don't think I've overrun certain things here. Oh, I might as well finish this part out. Is it 35? And the angel of the Lord said unto Balaam, go with the men, but only the word that I speak, I shall speak unto thee, that thou shalt speak. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. What's strange in this whole episode is that you don't know where these guys was all the time. So that's another question. Balaam riding along, he got these men accompanying him as his servants, and we don't have a clue. Now, we could have a field day in speculating, but we don't have a clue about those 2 guys that went with him. That's all of a sudden out the picture. And after this episode is now he with the princess of Balak. So I leave, those that listen to this here, Jirash, that's from me. I leave it to y'all investigation to find out or speculate what happened to the guys that went with him that didn't see none of this stuff at all. And then all of a sudden these princes are right there. So that's maybe something you might want to look up later on, check into. And nothing could be proven, just speculate. And then it goes on to say that 36th verse, and when Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him unto Moab, which is on the border of Anan, which is in the utmost part of the border. All right. He treated him like a dignitary, because normally you go all the way up to the king's palace when he sent for you. But he was in such a desperate situation that he actually wanted to get in touch with the king himself. The king rather wanted to meet him firsthand, because he refused him a couple times already. So, and in the 37th verse, and Balak said unto Balaam, did I not earnestly send unto thee to call thee? Wherefore camest thou not unto me? Am I not able indeed to promote thee to honor? And Balaam said unto Balak, lo, I am come unto thee. Have I now any power at all to speak anything? The word that God putteth in my mouth shall I speak. And Balaam went with Balak, and they came into, because I had the feast and everything like that. We're gonna skip past that and go into the 23rd chapter. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me 7 altars and prepare for me here 7 bullocks and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken. And Balaam offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. And Balaam said unto Balak, stand by the burnt offering, and I will go peradventure. The Lord will come to meet me, and whatever he showeth me, I will tell thee. And he went to a bare height, and God met Balaam, and he said unto him, I have prepared the 7 altars, and I have offered up a bullock and a ram on every altar. And the Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, return unto Balak, and thus thou shalt speak. All right. Now, what's strange is that Balak didn't get this yet. He didn't understand the situation that Balak really don't have no real power in himself. He got to get permission. He got to go to another source outside of himself. But Balak sees him as the venue, just like the other men that came back and reported to Balak said Balak refused to come. They see him as the great musician, the great diviner, the great future forecaster. And he telling them right there after they offer up, you stay here, I gotta go ahead and get some information. So sometimes when you're bent on wrong, bent on evil, you don't think about it. But we're gonna run through this here a little bit.
I could pick it up reading for you, Nasik, if you want me to.
Okay, all right. Pick it up from the 7th.
Verse 7, Numbers chapter 23, verse 7. And he took up his parable and said, from Aram Balak bringeth me, the king of Moab, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse me Yaakov, and come and execrate Yisrael. How shall I curse whom God has not cursed? And how shall I execrate whom Yehovah have not execrated? For from the top of the rocks I see him, from the hills I behold him. Lo, it is a people that shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who have count?
Hold on, wait there. I just want to stop right there. They use 2 terms, and goyim, in there. When they use that's more for Israel. That's more intimate. It's spelled with an ayin and a mem, and that's almost like with an accompaniment. All right, so when you use for a nation, that's why sometimes they have a song, Yisrael Kai, Yisrael Kai. The nation of Israel live. All right, so when you say going, that's more politically people or nations. So it shows that when you check it out, when you talk about, in the English it's misleading a little bit, but in the Hebrew you use the word which is actually something that's intimate when you talk about the nation of Israel. All right, you can pick it up from the 10th.
10th verse. Who have counted the dust of Yaakov, or numbered the stock of Yisrael? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let mine end be like his.
Hold right there. Now, the reason I stop above, because I want to focus on this other thing, but be reckoned amongst the nations. We're not like any other people as Israelites. And people always wonder why we ain't got this, why we can't do this, why we don't do that. Because we do what we can in our power, but our power lies with the Creator. And as the Creator see fits, he bless us, even in spite of us. When he told Balaam that he said, the people are blessed. So why would Balaam still go on a mission when he said the people are blessed? That's to say, oh, what he's been doing. And then he said in his 10th verse, which is really remarkable that I find, is that let me die the death of the righteous and let my end be like his. He wished to be an Israelite. He wished to go through what an Israelite goes through. He liked to die like an Israelite supposed to die in his righteousness. But the only way he could live like an Israelite and die like an Israelite is if you follow the laws of God like an Israelite should.
Israelite, right.
But he's saying that already. He already predicted that he ain't going to have an end like the Israelites going to have. And it's the very first parable. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And Balak said unto Balaam, what hast thou done unto me? I took thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast blessed them altogether. And he answered and said, must I not take heed to speak which Jehovah putteth in my mouth? And Balak said unto him, come, I pray thee, with me unto another place, from whence thou mayest see them. Thou shalt see but the utmost part of them, and shalt not see them all, and curse me them for thence.
All right. So that means all right. He just saying, well, look here, maybe this spot's not that good. Maybe you've seen too many people at one time. I need to cut it down, because this is a great feat here. So I'm trying to make it a little easier for you. You know. Right. So he said he just heard, but he said, look, I need you to do what I hired you to do. I don't know anything about what your God is talking about. I know what you're supposed to be talking about. So he missing this here point. But we're gonna skip on down to the next parable. All right.
Verse 18.
Yes, correct.
Verse 18. And correct. He took up his parable and said, arise, Balak, and hear. Give ear unto me, thou son of Zippor. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent.
That's the most important point that's coming from a heathen, a diviner, and soothsaying, and yet he recognized the power of the all-living God. And he even called it his God. So because a person say, I only know the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that don't mean I only serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So a lot of people might know of this God, but not serve this God. And we have plenty of cases where people recognize the power of the Creator, but never serve the Creator. But let's just go a little further.
When he hath said, will he not do it? Or when he hath spoken, will he not make it good?
Okay.
Behold, I am bidden to bless, and when he hath blessed, I cannot call it back.
All right. First of all, what's important is that being God is not a man that he should, that he should lie. Son of man that he should repent. The Creator don't make changes. Now, a lot of people might look at the English and see that, oh, well, in Genesis, the Creator repented. So, what do you mean that God don't repent? Because it repented him that he made man. But when we read it, even if you don't pick up the Hebrew real good, even in the English, it repented him that he made man on the earth, where things could be messed up, where things could be chaotic. So that was the issue. Not, that, it made a mistake. And then the word we fix is like uncomfortable, because the way man is made, where man had free will. And therefore, free will is most important for us as Israelites that believe in the supreme eternal universe, that we have free will. He have laws in place. So we are free to make the choices while the Creator had already made the judgment. All right, come on, just a little bit.
Verse 21. None have beheld iniquity in Yaakov, neither have one seen perverseness in Yisrael. Yehovah, his God, is with him, and the shouting for the king is among them.
Okay.
God who brought them forth out of Egypt is for them like the lofty horns of the wild ox.
Right
for
there.
there is, all right.
All right, you finish it out.
For there is no enchantment with Yaakov, neither is there any divination with Yisrael.
Okay. Now, first of all, if we remember the beginning of the story, the way it's portrayed, there's a people that came out of Egypt. So Balak make it seem like they did this on their own. But here, Balaam saying they didn't come out on their own. They didn't fight their way out. Balak seen a rumble go down with kings that took some of their territory. So maybe these guys had some skills from his viewpoint, from what he saw, that they are terrible fighters. But what Balaam is letting them know, as powerful as Egypt was, they didn't fight against Egypt. The Creator fought against Egypt. And therefore the Creator brought them out. And he's telling them that right now, you think these people doing it on their own. You can go ahead.
And it says, I will read 23 again. For there is no enchantment with Yaakov, neither is there any divination with Yisrael.
Okay, now, we don't need those things. We don't need those things. In other words, we need to find out what's going on. The Creator sends a prophet. So we got a real, a real hotline. Go ahead.
Now is it said of Yaakov and of Yisrael, what have God wrought? Behold, a people that rises up as a lioness, and as a lion doth he lift himself up. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey and drink the blood of the slain.
Okay.
And
right.
And you want me to stop there?
Yeah. Stop there for a moment. All right, that's a moment. So now he done set this parable and blessed him. Now we got to focus on what Balak say from here. Good.
Verse 25. And Balak said unto Balaam, neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all. But Balaam answered and said unto Balak, told not I thee, saying, all that Yehovah speaketh, that I must do? And Balak said unto Balaam, come now, and I will take thee unto another place. Peradventure it will please God that thou mayest curse me them from thence.
Okay. In other words, now Balak finally got the message that Balaam ain't got no real power. After this year's second blessing, he said, oh, well, I thought you was all that. Now I see you ain't really all that. You know what I mean? You got answers to somebody. I mean, I thought I was talking to the big man, but you ain't the big shot. So now I need to take you another spot and see, because it ain't about you no more, because you ain't got no real skills here. I mean, you done.
Right.
But I don't know this God like you know him. So therefore, I need you to go ahead and, talk to this God and see if this God could mess him up from over here.
Right.
So disregarding that they're blessed, disregarding that the Creator did all that for them, but at least I know you ain't the real deal no more. you ain't all you claim to be.
Right.
But sometimes anger will still blind you. It'll still blind you. He said, I can't tell him no more than God say, but yeah, I'm gonna send him a third time because it's costing me all the time. All right.
Verse 28.
No, let's just skip on down to the third parable.
The third parable, that'll be the next chapter, right?
Yes.
Chapter 24. Verse 3.
Stop in 3.
We're in Numbers chapter 24, starting from verse 3.
Right,
and he took.
Let me just bring this out first too.
Okay.
All right. As we look at this thing here, and we see that now he come to the grips that this guy that he sent all the way from Syria, had this reputation that was worldwide in their neighborhood. And yet only now, I see he ain't really got no juice like he's supposed to have. It's not in him. but I'm still dependent on him. So that make you think about, some people might get into a religion thing that, you know, that may not be good for them, may not be conducive to their lifestyle, their health, and everything. And, you know, they'll go straight on down, you know, something like a Jim Jones people, you know,
Right.
you know, so you know, people get caught up in certain things. All right, read.
Verse 3. Numbers 24, verse 3. And he took up his parable and said, the saying of Balaam the son of Beor, and the saying of the man whose eye is open, the saying of him that heareth the words of God, who seeth the vision of the Almighty, falling down yet with open eyes. How goodly are thy tents, O Yaakov, thy dwellings, O Yisrael.
All right.
All right.
That's a prayer they normally say in most prayer books in the opening when they enter the
Right.
synagogue rabbinically and everything like that. And that comes from Balaam himself, you know. And you know what's unique is that this third time he didn't go away like other times, you know. He just stayed right there. Well, I think I might have had you jump just a little bit too far, but I bring let me see if I can find it right quick.
Verse 1. And when Balaam saw that it pleased Jehovah to bless Israel.
There you go. That's it.
All right, so let's start from verse 1. Numbers 24, verse 1.
Right.
And when Balaam saw that it pleased Jehovah to bless Israel, he went not, as at other times, to meet with enchantments, but he set his face towards the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Yisrael dwelling tribe by tribe, and the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up his parable and said,
okay.
Okay.
All right, that's good. That's good right there. You just filled it up for me. All right,
okay.
That's the part I went going a little bit too fast. All right, so the thing is that he didn't. The other two times he had to go off on a distance, hopefully get some information privately, by himself. But this time he realized, look, no need me going back town asking God if you know, could I curse this people from there? And this what Balak said, I'm going to take you to another spot, and perhaps God will, be able to curse the people from there. But Balak and Balaam refusing now, he became bold now, and he said, look, I ain't going to go no further. I'm just going to take up this parable and talk now. According now, the Spirit of the Creator rests on. So the Spirit of the Creator can rest on whoever he desired it to rest on. Just like Saul later on in history had the evil spirit come upon him. The spirit, but Caleb had a different spirit when he went with the scouts. So the Creator could put that spirit on you where you don't realize it's there. You just become really a vessel for the Creator. And that's what we all hope to become, a vessel for the Creator in a good light. You can finish out that parable part.
And he took, verse 3, and he took up his parable and said, the saying of Balaam the son of Beor, the saying of the man whose eye is open, the saying of him that heareth the words of God, who seeth the vision of the Almighty, falling down yet with open eyes. Yeah. How goodly are thy tents, O Yaakov, thy dwellings, O Yisrael, as valleys stretched out, as gardens by the riverside, as aloes planted of Yehovah, as cedars beside the waters. Water shall flow from his branches, and his seed shall be in many waters, and his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God, who brought him forth out of Egypt, is for him like the lofty horns of the wild ox. He shall eat up the nations that are his adversaries, and shall break their bones in pieces, and pierce them through with his arrows. He couched, he lay down as a lion, and as a lioness, who shall rouse him up? Blessed be every one that blesseth thee, and cursed be every one that curseth thee. And Balak's anger was kindled against Balaam, and he smote his hands together. And Balak said unto Balaam, I call thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast altogether blessed them these 3 times.
All right, hold on. Now, and you say, well, when the Spirit of the Creator came upon Balaam, and he said those words that the Creator put in his mouth. All right. And Balaam's letting you know, because it had Balaam had the actual power to speak and say, all right, I'm going to bless the people anyway. All right. We might believe that this man had the power if he gave us a blessing. Now, sometimes an outsider, such as Yithro, said, now I know the Creator is greater than all gods because what he did for you. So and he offered up a sacrifice to our God, you know, in the wilderness when the elders and Moshe went with them for the Jethro's sacrifice. So a blessing from an outsider is a good thing. And you know what is strange here when we read is that from the time of Abraham, it said those that bless you will be blessed, those that curse you will be cursed. So now, if Balak was considering the welfare of his people, then why not bless the nation of Israel? Why not have a blessing even for his people? If he don't want to bless the nation of Israel, say, Balaam, give me a blessing. But if he had blessed the nation of Israel, already, the Creator already stated, you know, those that bless you will be blessed. So it's a win-win scenario. There's no loss in the game. And we go on and go just a little bit further.
Verse 11. Therefore now flee thou to thy place. I thought to promote thee unto great honor, but lo, Yehovah hath kept thee back from honor. Balaam said unto Balak, spoke I not also to thy messengers that thou didst send unto me, saying, if Balak will give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of Yehovah, to do either good or bad of my own mind. What Yehovah speaketh, that will I speak. And now behold, I go unto my people. Come, and I will announce to thee what this people shall do to thy people in the end of days. And he took up his parable and said,
All right there. All right. Now, the spirit of the Creator is still upon him. But he said, look here, this one's on the house. This is on the house. You didn't pay for this.
Right.
But I'm going to drop this one on you for free because I got the spirit on me now. I tell you, I can't do no more or less than what my God say. So now, we just go through that just a little bit.
Verse 15. And he took up his parable. No
Yes.
problem. And he took up his parable, saying, the saying of Balaam, the son of Beor, the saying of the man whose eye is opened, the saying of him who heareth the words of God, and knoweth the knowledge of the Most High, who seeth the vision of the Almighty falling down, yet with opened eyes. I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not nigh. There shall step forth a star out of Yaakov, and a scepter shall rise out of Yisrael, and shall smite through the corners of Moab, and break down all the sons of Sheth. And Edom shall... All right.
I'll stop there. The next one, 18. All right. One of the things is that he's talking about the future, but not the far future, not the last days. So a lot of people read this and attribute to the last days, you know, the messianic period and stuff like that. But this is the near future that he's talking about concerning the land of Moab and Balak's people. All right, now 18 verse.
Verse 18. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also, even his enemies, shall be a possession, while Yisrael doeth valiantly. And out of Yaakov shall one have dominion, and shall destroy the remnant from the city. And he looked on Amalek and took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his end shall come to destruction. And he looked on the key.
That means not only they consider it first of the nation, but first of the nations to attack us. Going out their way, out their territory, just to attack the children of Israel coming out of Egypt. Good.
Verse 21. And he looked on the Kenite and took up his parable and said, though firm by thy dwelling place, and though thy nest be set in the rock, nevertheless Cain shall be wasted. How long? Ashur shall carry thee away captive. And he took up his parable and said, Alas, who shall live after God have appointed him? But the ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and they shall afflict Ashur, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall come to destruction. And Balaam rose up and went and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I'm just gonna highlight something to the end of it. But one of the things is that when he talk about the term he used, most people think he's a prophet, but the word for the oracles or the parables that Balaam used is come from the word mashal, and that's what it means. But you never find that term used with any of the prophets of God in the scripture. So but for those that's following the Hebrew, because some people might think he's a genuine, 100% authentic prophet, but none of our prophets use when it use that term mashal. It's only used here dealing with Balaam, and so that let you know that he's not a good prophet in that sense, and also that Balaam, he wanted to still the curse people, but he blessed them. And it's strange that he blessed them several times when he wanted to curse them all the time. And then in the beginning of his first parable, he's thinking of himself as wishing to die the death of the righteous. And that's ironic. So sometimes we can learn quite a few things from it. But he did to show you that he wasn't bent on having our salvation, even though he was on the other side of the Euphrates, that he stuck around and counseled how to get us to trip up. And then we know as the end of the chapter is, we committed whoredom with the daughters of Moab, and we understand about Pinchas was coming up, that he wound up being zealous for the Creator. And one of the most interesting things that you'll be finding next week, Sidra, is that Pinchas is the only man that we could read about that I could think of in scriptures that the Creator exonerated his actions when it was done impulsively, out the norm. And so that's a unique thing to look at, that the stuff he did is not supposed to be duplicated. And when you those that make the Aliyah and up on the Shabbats, those that do those particular things, when you get to the term about a covenant of peace, you find that that's the only letter in Wav in the word Shalom to have a space. And normally that space saying that complete peace, what he had to do to get it was violent. So, and that's the only way, and that's a traditional thing that you might notice those that make Aliyah or study from a tikkun itself. And you find that word Shalom there concerning a covenant of peace for Pinchas. But also, that is the very highest blessing that the Creator give us with the 3 words, 5 words, and 7 words. The greatest thing he gives us as a nation is peace. So I hope you got something out of what I said. I know I went through it kind of, choppy a bit, trying not to be too redundant, and any mistakes been my own. And, you just forward the questions, and, and I'll apologize for any mistakes I might have made. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Torah Nasik. I know you just skimmed through the portion of the beginning, of Balak, or the ending part of Balak, with Pinchas, right? With with Pinchas saying, when it speaks about he went after the man of Israel into the chamber, this is Numbers 25 verse 8, and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Yisrael. So for a while I had been teaching that, we know what was going on, the fornication and everything that was going on, what caused the plague to come through, and it caused so many of these men their lives because of what they partook of. The whole ceremony to Baal Peor and going on to that ceremony. My question is two questions. Was it more like a orgy type thing, lascivious type of thing, to where it was part of their tradition to kind of have sex? We assume, right, that this is what they were doing and this is what was going on, because you have, the whole thing, as we've discussed before, with the Quadesha, the women that are set aside for certain rights and things like this. Do you think that they went with the intentions to, my question is, do you think that the men went with the intentions to worship Baal Peor, or was it just like, it's free women, I'm going to just partake of it, and then they fell into a worship of Baal Peor just by partaking of the woman?
Well, it's a combination of everything, because any kind of feast or festival, and worship service, you're gonna have yain. Even though all our sacrifices accompanied with a drink offering,
right?
Even though he poured there, he don't be drinking it there. He just poured,
Right.
but there's a company there. And in most heathen cultures, wine is there. Even in the Catholic Church, you have bread and wine, but then they start lighting it up for some of the kids, I guess. I don't know. And I never grew up in that. Just seen it quite a few times.
No, they didn't. When I was in the Catholic Church and I used to take communion, it was straight up wine.
Okay.
There was some strong wine.
All right, but so and a festival, and a festival, the heathen festivals, you got sacrifice going on, you got dancing, just like we have a festival pretty much stuff, but we keep it more in a holy state. So, right. So the part of that worship service was, the God of the opening. You know what I mean? And then so that's part of their worship service where it became very lewd, and so much so that I don't want to go ahead of the thing, pretty much, what I mean? But Moses made the comment, you done brought all these women back that messed y'all up, and next week Sidra.
Right. So and then my other part is when it says that he thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly, so the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. Always, the way that I looked at it is he was on top of her, right? Now, would that be a correct way to look at it, since she got thrust through her belly?
All right. Now, if you're standing up, they're already close in embrace for it to go, for him to ease by, because he's a top prince, one of the war princes, which I, like I said, I hate to go ahead, but he's one of the war princes in there. And if we pay close attention to next week's Sidra, as none of the princes went out, it's the officers of the tribes went out.
Right.
But none of the princes went out to that battle. And Pinchas, but pretty much the war priest for that particular thing. So now when we look at that situation, we always say, and this is what I was taught, that they was in an intimate act,
right?
Fornicating at that time. And therefore, that made it easy, because even standing up, people that even embracing, it's kind of hard. I mean, to impale two people right away if they're standing up. But if you're laying down, you got some force. And plus, the thing is that it could be questionable. If you're standing up, one person might have seen you coming and went to try to grab the other person.
Right.
What I mean? So, I mean, I'm just saying, that's possible, possibility if you're going to draw scenarios. You coming through the door real fast, get ready to juke this guy, and I went to grab this guy and try to pull him out the side, and you get him and me at the same time. Whereas if they land in the act, right, land in the act, Zimri and Cosby, the daughter of Zippor, and it's interesting too, Zor, that they daughter Zor. Yeah, it's interesting that there's in that act, because it's a statement is made once he put that javelin through him, that dart through him, and it went through her, his back through her stomach, and then impaled him, that's saying it's undeniable what they was doing from a horizontal position. From a stand-up position, it would be questionable. Now, the only other issue is that the due process, because he walked by the side of all the other people. So you got Moshe, you got the high priest now, Eleazar, and all the other top people around. And he goes past all of them, and while they weeping before the tent of meeting.
Disrespect.
Weeping before the tent of meeting. And he's no sympathy for his brothers, no sympathy for the lost ones. And he goes there and do what he do. And it's another thing. I used to teach on reference to that you always say, well, why would Moshe didn't say anything? Well, he was married to a Midianite. He married to a local Midianite, a Kohen, the daughter of a Kohen. I got the top prince of Midian. I got a princess. So Moshe shouldn't have had no problem with me. He better not say anything because he married a Midianite. And I got me a top princess Midianite. So therefore, they shouldn't say anything because my Midianite princess is of a higher status than Moshe's one wife that he got from Yithro. So it is, I mean, that's what somebody just, bring out, in reference to that. Not that is written like that. I just share that information of reference to Moshe was married to a Midianite, and Shimon and Levi is always close. And which is ironic is that the very thing that they went against Shechem for an lewd act concerning their sister together, they was at odds about a lewd act concerning one of them, which is the Prince of Shimon.
All right. So and actually you didn't go ahead. That's actually the end of portion on Balak. That question, that part. So this tomorrow, I think it picks it up from verse 10. And Yehudah spoke to Moses saying, Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron. This one he promotes him, Pinchas. So
yeah, which is a thing that to be focused on. Why so? Why that way? But you had a question, I think you said about Bo.
Yes. I wanted to ask you a question. All right. I was having a discussion with a brother, good brother. And we got into speaking about words and people not using sometimes the Hebrew properly. And he brought up the word bow, right? And he asked me, what does bow mean? And I said, bow means come. And he told me correct. He said, but there are some people that use the word bow, and they said bow means come and go, right? And he said that's incorrect. So the question that I wanted to ask you is, the word bow, what does it mean? Does it mean come and go, or does it mean just come?
All right. The bow spelled with a bait aleph means come. Now, when we had the Sidra, bow in the book of Shemot, Exodus, starting around, I believe, around the 10th chapter, just off the top of my head. That's that begins from the last three plagues, the 8th plague, which is locust, the 9th plague, which is darkness, and the 10th plague, which is the death of the firstborn. Now, what we have is that when he said, there's two ways to approach it. One, the creator, this the only assurance that the creator was going to be ahead of Moshe and this action here. And that, so you could look at it from that perspective, the creator telling him, go, and come. In other words, I'm ahead of you. And, so therefore you come to Pharaoh. So, but then he makes it the subject Pharaoh, not necessarily the creator. So then when you make the subject Pharaoh, so you come unto Pharaoh in that sense, because one is a metaphorical way and the other one's a literal meaning. So I'm giving you the literal part. When you come under Pharaoh, in a sense, that means that you're gonna try to talk to him and reason with him in the most humane fashion as you possibly can, try to touch him. And you notice in that particular Sidra, when he came in the Sidra boat, when the opening statements, when he told about the plague of locusts and everything, and that if you don't let my when they say, well, who shall go? They say, talking about sons and daughters, and then he said the plague would be about concerning your fathers, your fathers have not seen a plague such as this before. I'm just paraphrasing just a bit without going back too far. And one of the things that's interesting is that when he talk about that particular plague, a locust, Moses said what he said, and he turned away from Pharaoh. And it's the first time that the counselors of Pharaoh stood against Pharaoh and said, do you not know Egypt is being destroyed? So therefore, you get the idea of bold means not only just coming to Pharaoh, but coming to him into his heart, into his very soul, if you can, come deep into it. Even though God said, for a heart in his heart, but coming to him strong and dire. And so therefore, when he came to Pharaoh, that's the first time that that Moshe, after he said what he said, turned his back, and the counselors had to tell Pharaoh, look here, we need to, don't you see that Egypt is destroyed? And then, only then, did Pharaoh sent for Moshe back. And then when Moshe said everybody had to leave, including their cattle and everything, then Pharaoh said, evil is before you. And therefore, he dismissed Moshe. Now, if we look at the patterns of the plagues too, the first plague, the second plague, you get warnings. Third plague, no warning. The fourth, the fifth plague, warnings. Sixth plague, no warning. Seventh, eighth plague, no warnings. Ninth plague, no warning. So every third plague, you didn't get a warning, which was the plague of darkness, would come after that eighth plague, which is locusts. Then the very last plague, which should have been the first plague, you get the warning. And then Bo was also not only to come into Pharaoh, but it was a lesson for the Israelites, not just Pharaoh, but for the Israelites also to know that this is the Creator that's doing this for them as well. And now, so not only in that eighth plague in the Sidra Bo, we get the meaning that he got to actually come in and try to talk to Pharaoh and make some sense, but also for the Israelites to acknowledge the Creator, and as well, not only acknowledge the Creator, but they got legislation to do something in the future. Talk about what happened to them years later. And that's before the death of the firstborn.
I have another one last question, and then you could go. I know I'm holding you up.
Well,
all right.
Maybe I redeem myself if I did any bad stuff. Did terrible.
So I hear a lot of people in greeting, right? When you greet Israelites, usually some of the greetings are Shalom, my Shalom Ka, blah, the usual way that we greet each other. When is the proper way when is the proper time to say to someone, Lekhim Yah?
Well, I usually don't use it myself.
Okay.
Personally, I never use it. I don't have a problem with brothers and sisters use it, because that's a tightrope walk, and some people come back, and some people never come back. You know what I mean? So just taking it from there. You know what I mean? Enoch walked with God and was not.
Right.
So and then he told Abraham, walk before me, be perfect. He tell us to walk in his ways, but not walk with him.
Right.
So I really never used that term. I don't have a problem with brothers using it, but because of what I read and see in scriptures and stuff like that, are you really ready? It's like Dawid one time in one of the Psalms said, judge me according to thy own integrity. That's before he messed up. After that, he didn't read that psalm again about that, judge me in, according to thy own integrity. I need mercy. So therefore, I don't consider myself good enough, to walk with God and walk with the Creator, So basically, I try to walk in the Torah. As a matter of fact, one of the good lessons you could be learned is that the Creator told the Meshuggah, Yehoshua, Joshua, the minister of Moshe, Joshua, saying, follow the Torah of Moshe. And you say, well, I thought I'm supposed to be following the Creator directly. But he told Yehoshua, follow the Torah of Moshe. So I use that more gauge for me, in that sense. Now, I don't have a problem with brothers say, well, Lekin Yah and all that kind of stuff, I don't have that problem. I never say it because I try not putting that too heavy on the brother.
All right, and I get that point, but I mean, when is the proper time? Like, let me rephrase it because you're technical.
No, I really don't know when is the proper time until the Creator say he got a job for you. And you can verify it. And we take you out of it.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you're going to say it to someone, right? Is that on the welcome, like when we say shalom, or is it on the going?
Well, I'm going to say it like this here, and hopefully I can answer the question this way.
Right.
And BINAH Zakim, we say, we bid everybody shalom. If not in the coming, it's the going.
Okay, got you. There you have it. You see, technical. That's why I try to let you people know. This is what gets you sharp, because men like Nasik, Zurishaddai always bring out the technical points, and they always sharp and keep the blade sharp in order to teach people like us, to keep us informed, to keep our blade sharp. They said, iron sharp as iron. So does the countenance of man sharpen the countenance of another man. So we thank you this evening, Nasik, for giving us a little overtime and for being here with us and for adding on to our channel, and for just being timeless and being able to still expound in this Torah and give glory to the Most High God the way that you do.
It's been my pleasure, and it's definitely an opportunity for me. And I hope, like I said, what I said, a lot of people could use and improve upon it as well. So, I don't want to be the litmus test. I want to be people who go beyond me, because that way I get the blessing. If you go beyond me, I get the blessing. You stay at that level that, I might be all right, but it's not to say. With that, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom. You have a good Shabbat evening, Nasik.
Okay, and all this. All right, shalom.